Oh, hello there. Welcome back to the final episode of Hallownest. This is the very last one. This is the final chapter, the final bits of City of Tears. I believe we are going to first focus on the repair shop. So this is the little place that presumably the nailsmith would live. I feel like I say this for every single space, and it's not incorrect. I think I had a lot of fun doing this particular build because I was going for a very specific look with this build that I personally don't ever do. Like if I'm ever doing my own independent builds, I tend to do more, I guess maybe clean cut type of builds. The style of build that I do on average for myself is not what comes from, or not a lot of the design aesthetic would be found in this particular build. So I think because of that, I had a really fun time doing this one. And they have so many more color swatches now for this particular base game counter, and I love it so much. This particular counter just really gave me like a woodsy workshop-y type of vibe. And then I tried to pull as many machines and things as I could. As many like little things like a crafting table. I think one of those is a recycling machine. There's like a candle making station. I pull a bunch of them. And then I scale it back and I go, okay, what would make sense to have in this space? What makes the most sense? What would get used? And then I go from there. I think I get rid of the candle making station. I keep the woodworking table, of course. Oh, I'm a little sleepy today. And then I do try to slide these things over just a little bit so that it sort of looks like it's built in or built on to the end. I did find a very large number of debug items. Oh, I was looking for this one really industrial shelf to put it back here as if this was going to be like a shelf spot for orders and things that came in. I really liked that particular item, but I'm sleepy today. I really liked that one item, but it didn't quite fit the vibe for this build. Also, I don't keep all of those shelves there. It's too many shelves. It takes up way too much room. Yeah, I was looking for this one very particular industrial shelf. Couldn't remember what pack had it. And then I really couldn't find it like anywhere until I found that there. I think that was close to what I was looking for. I may just end up keeping that one particular item. And then I wanted some type of nice but still kind of craftsy display shelf. We go with the same flooring. You know, keep it as simple as possible. I didn't worry about doing like a bathroom on the business floor for this one because there wasn't really, like, you don't really go to a repair shop. I don't know, maybe some people's repair shops have bathrooms in them. That was not the vibe that I was going for in this one. And then I did specifically go with very sort of old looking like wallpaper, like a very dated place. You're getting all the yawns today, that's for sure. A very dated wallpaper and then perhaps an older looking tile. Like this place has maybe seen some better days. Went with very plain little fixtures. There is a bathroom in this build, but again, this up here would more so be the, I guess the living quarters. This is where the nailsmith would sort of live. This is his private space. So, no bathroom that's accessible to the public. And we gotta have our signature toilet roll in there. Always gotta have your toilet paper. I did try to keep this build a little bit more on the grungy side. You know, even some of the counters that I go with up here. I do try and keep them a little bit more dated. You're gonna see me, I think, jump around quite a bit. Just a heads up on that one. It's a very small kitchen space. Like an incredible, this is a small little apartment, you know, it's like a little studio apartment. Actually, it is a studio apartment, I believe. We fit in a couple of shelves. We have a nice little window there. I think I might ultimately leave that window where it is because then I know it's in line with where the other ones are. I didn't want to mess around with those. Didn't want to mess around with those customized heights too much. We get in one little solo bed for now. You know, who knows, maybe the nailsmith will make a friend. Maybe he'll go out and meet someone. Who's to say? I wanted just a little grungy dresser. Something that didn't take up too much space. Something that did sort of box in the bed a bit. I don't think there's any TV up here or anything for entertainment like that. I struggled to pick a good little dining table. I think I like this one because the runner on it has a little bit of like a bluish green, little nod to the color scheme generally for City of Tears, but there's also a little bit of orange, like maybe a little bit of infection. I also wasn't super worried about making all of the pieces match for this build because it felt like it would just be a bit older of a place, like maybe it's just cobbled together furniture, bits and bobs that you've collected over the years. And then I do put in a little paint easel and a place to store paintings and things. We have some blank canvases and some already painted canvases. We keep it very, very simple on the upstairs. Very, very, very simple. Do still think of safety. We still put in a thermostat and we put in a fire alarm, a little smoke alarm. I think I find a couple of very little blinds or some type of little curtain. That doesn't seem too bad. But only for 2 of the windows, I think, that are up here. And you'll see as I come across other items that I was maybe searching for before. I have a bit of a random and chaotic design style, I think. I don't mean to. It's sort of just as I'm building when I come across things, because otherwise sometimes I might not be able to find them. Oh yeah, and then I did come across these custom signs for restaurants. I don't know why I didn't see them before, but there was one with like numbers and stuff on it, so I thought, okay, yeah, that one's gonna go in here. Bunch of scribbled notes, but then there were some for little coffee barista type shops. I went, oh man, where were these before? I just pull up a couple of them. I think I just make sure that they're a similar color in frame, but otherwise I leave them a little different. And then it's almost as though you've got all of your tools that you might use while you're working. in specially designated spots in front of you on the wall. I really like these wood tones that I go with in this particular build. Yeah, I get rid of all of the other shelves. I think I also get rid of those lower shelves, maybe. Just keep a couple little shelves around. I really like the wood tones that I used in this build because there are little like ribbons or rivulets of blues, or almost like a blue hue. Even if it is mostly gray, there's a little bit of a blue hue. And I really like that. Yeah, so we've got, okay, we're getting into the debug tools and items and things. I find random planks of wood. I find random, I think, screws and other tools. There's a saw sitting there. I think I find a tape measure. There's a broom. I just randomly put a broom somewhere, I think, or a shovel. I definitely randomly put a bigger tool. Gotta think of safety. Gotta keep a fire extinguisher around just in case. Hammers and all kinds of things. I definitely go a little crazy on the debug items for this, but I think I go just crazy enough. And I make sure that there's a good amount of clutter for on those particular shelves. And then again, I just can't help myself. I come across a little sign for one of the other builds, and I go, I gotta add this in. So these little items off to the side, this would be like items that have been repaired and are awaiting pickup or something like that, or items that have been dropped off and are waiting to be repaired. I do put a business card holder on the on that half wall, like a little ledge. And I think that's pretty much it. I did have a really good time doing the all of the little debug items for that build. That one was really fun. And then here I was trying to think of how to do the bathrooms. I knew I wanted there to be a couple of little bathrooms. Same problem that I had almost in the spa build. And then I did make sure that I met all of the lot requirements for this to be an actual gallery, some type of art gallery. So we do have a couple of little bathroom stalls in this one. I can't remember why I'm pausing. I wanted to keep this one in particular a bit more airy. I do think I use more blue in this one. I love the way this one turned out too. I love the way all of them turned out. Honestly, these were just, I think, some of the best builds to do. I do get a bit more funky and art deco in some of the spaces in this particular space, I know that it's not like an art museum, but it's a museum of sorts. And museums usually have funkier situations, right? Like you can be a bit more wild with the tiles and things. I can't remember if I keep those floor tiles in the bathroom. I really hope I do, because that looks really cool. In terms of like a little bathroom. And we go with some slightly fancier toilets, something that would be just maybe a little bit more on the unusual side. Same with the sinks. We go with something that's maybe a little bit more artistic. In hindsight, I should have tucked a couple of garbage cans in these, but like underneath the sinks. That really was like a perfect space to do it. Hindsight. And then just a couple of doors. Couple of doors for a couple of stalls. I do have a lot of fun with different wallpapers. Again, I'm keeping it very light, like as light as I can without being white, because I did still want it to be a little bit blue. I would definitely, I think, attribute blue with City of Tears, blues, grays. Lighter, but for this particular space, lighter. I wanted all of those colors, but lighter. And then I do go pretty crazy with the pictures. So bear with me on this one. There were so many, and I wanted to fit as many of them in as possible. I tried very, very hard to fit as many of them in as possible. I believe what I do is I do more like landscapes and stuff like that in this downstairs area of the museum gallery, and then upstairs I divide it into other sections, like if you're looking for something a bit more funky. And then I discovered that there are so many of those, almost too many. We put in at least one of those. I don't think I keep all of them. I really tried to fit in as many art pieces as possible. Canvas type paintings. I don't know much about art, so I don't know how much more I could really say about different styles. I'll admit it, I'll own up to it. I don't know much about art. But I tried to make sure that everything was represented, at least as much as possible. As many different styles as possible. I wanted to do 4 of these because they do have 4 different like swatches. I really needed more walls and more wall space. Oh, there were all of these really cool banners. There were all of these little framed paintings. There were too many options. Way too many options. So we add in a wall, and I just carry up that fun wallpaper, try and put some more of the neutral colored artworks in those spaces there. I don't think I keep both the llamas and the sloths. I do think I make a choice on those. I don't remember what the choice is, but I do recall making a choice. And then I do try and divide things up a little bit, sort of organize all of these in a fun and an interesting way. Make sure that those are centered somewhere in the middle. I think once I end up organizing all of the paintings, I discover that I have a bit more room, a bit more space, and I can pull out a few of the other ones. And then I just try and pick some really particularly interesting ones. Ones that you would definitely find in art museums and exhibits somewhere. I do also get into some sculptures and things. We'll add those in a little bit throughout. I also add in a couple of lighter pillars. I didn't want to open up the entire front space, so I do close up half. Yeah, like that. But we do add in a nice big open front entryway. And then that gives us this good wall space that we can add more paintings to. Downstairs, this level seems to be more, landscapes, realistic, slice of life type paintings. Upstairs might be a bit more abstract, maybe. And then I do add in some rope off the exhibits a little bit, so you can't get too close. Gotta stay behind the rope, protect the artwork. And then this here seems like a really good space for some sculptures. We've got some pedestals and things that you can display really fun sculptures on. I had a hard time finding items that actually sat on these pedestals. Like a really hard time. I also don't know. I did get a comment on one of the previous HalloSims videos telling me to be a bit more breathy. I don't know if if my particular microphone picks it up well. I do have a pop filter on, so I feel like that maybe stops some of the breathiness from coming through. I do manage to fit a couple of statues downstairs, but only a couple. And then I think I end up going with that particular sign. Yeah. So we have some statues and things upstairs, some statues and things downstairs. Lots of natural light. And then we have City Hall. This is the very last building that's left. I still don't remember. I think I was supposed to go back and take a look, maybe even check in with a friend, either Lumen or Rusty, because I think they were both around when I was first building, or maybe even when I was finishing up the build of this. At any rate, early on when I was deciding what each of the 5 buildings for this lot were going to be, they did give their input and they did help me out with that. Don't get too attached to these windows or to this door, because I do come across these windows here, and they look almost too appropriate, not for an older building, but they look incredibly appropriate for potentially who would be in this building, or who this building is sort of a tribute to. You're gonna see me mess around with this for a little bit, but ultimately I believe I switch all of the windows to those Realm of Magic ones. And specifically because there's a color scheme or pattern with the stained glass that really reminded me a lot of Soul Master and Soul Sanctum. And I do end up having to adjust all of these walls because in one building I changed the wall height from a regular wall height to, I think, a medium wall height. I wanted taller walls on the main level of City Hall. And when I did that, it changed the wall height of all of the buildings. I really wish you could do it where that didn't happen, but that was not feasible. Yeah, I change all of the windows to these ones here. We put in a lot of windows. This place, I was going to try and go a little bit more classic, maybe traditional with the windows in this build, But these ones, like the colors in the stained glass, the pattern, it was just too good. It was too perfect. I couldn't not use these. It was too good. I do mess around with that for a minute. I will say the floor plan in particular for City Hall was a struggle. Yeah, and then I find a nice big wall clock. I specifically made sure that it poked through the roof a bit. I wanted it poking through the roof, but I did also want a nice big wall clock. Yeah, I struggle here with the floor plan of this build. I knew I needed stairs to go in. Wasn't 100% sure how I wanted to do the stairs or where I wanted to put the stairs. Actually, I do think I keep the stairs right there. And instead of doing windows on that one wall, I believe I do these as public bathrooms. But I can't remember how I do the stalls. I guess maybe I do the stalls like this. So there's 2 stalls for each one. I just divide it up a little bit. It was an awkward space to try and make a lot of stuff work. I knew up here on the 3rd floor would be like smaller independent offices. And I'm glad it worked out well on the one side that I had just a hall going back down to where that one window was. And then I made sure that I could open it up to down below. The floor plan for this one was really hard, and I ultimately settled on having a very awkward floor plan, specifically because if it was supposed to be maybe like an older building that's maybe being renovated for this particular purpose, you know, maybe the floor plan wouldn't make sense. Sometimes I think in older buildings and older structures, the floor plans seem really weird, really awkward. I really wish that Realm of Magic items didn't work so well for this whole build. But unfortunately, Realm of Magic just worked way too well for this whole build. And so here we are. We get a lot of Realm of Magic items. Oh, I wanted to use that door there so bad, but I couldn't. And it was this like awkwardly tucked in space. I had to make it as if like the door was hidden The whole room was thrown in as an afterthought. This one was awkward to design, and there were some elements that came really easy to me, and other elements that were a really big struggle. Picking different tiles and things, this was really tricky. I did try to go with, again, patterns, designs, things that I don't typically pick, things that seemed like they would maybe be very appropriate for the purposes of this whole build. Still keeping in that blue theme. Always gotta have that blue. I mean, it is City of Tears, you gotta have the blue. All of these lower spaces, we're maybe gonna leave them a little bit dated. I think there's one wallpaper in particular that I pick because it has a bit of I think the pattern of the wallpaper just feels a little bit soul sanctum-y, maybe. I think I'm still looking for it. But we do one main color or pattern in the open spaces, and then we do a different one in interior for the rooms and things. I wanted to make, so this on the third floor, that very top floor, that would be like the main office. That would be where, the big boss has his desk, gets all his work done. I made sure to put a nice big desk up there, and then I found some smaller little desks. That one office is incredibly tiny, but somehow I managed to pack a lot into that little office. And then there's almost like a little reception space. Hindsight, I should have just put the paneling right there. Hindsight, I tell you, that's really getting me. I think, again, for this particular build, there were specific elements that immediately came to me and made sense. And then there were a number of elements that I really struggled on. I think by the time I made it to this particular build, I was starting to burn out a bit on the builds. I was starting to run out of ideas, particularly for the city hall space in general. So I don't know if City Hall in specific is one of my better areas. I think the details that are in it are very, very good and spot on. I like the color scheme. It could definitely be better. There are definitely a number of places for improvement. And I will definitely bear that in mind. Who knows? Maybe if you guys really, really like these particular videos, especially because this one is the final one for this series, but if you guys really enjoy these and you want to see more of this, I can always do like follow-up videos where I renovate some of these and see if I can get them a little bit more spot on. I did try to give like the main office up at the top. I tried very hard to make sure that it had, you know, the best, the most expensive, maybe not necessarily the most expensive, but definitely the best of the items. And then all of the other offices, they could get you know, computers and desks and chairs and things that were okay, but somewhere, you know, further down the line, maybe hand-me-downs. I tried to make this particular room a bit of a press conference room. I did also try very hard to fit in as many of these benches as I could. I don't believe that stays like that. If it did, I'd be a little surprised. That's a very small aisle for them to walk down. I actually don't know if your Sims can get down there or not. Well, maybe I do keep it that way. And I think I specifically picked these benches because the design of the back of the bench, again, I felt it was very soul tyrant, soul master, it just felt very much like the aesthetic. We add in a couple of flowers, but nothing too much in terms of decoration. This place didn't feel like it would have a lot of decoration. Felt like it would be definitely more for just business, you know? Now that that part is over, that was probably the worst bit of the entire City of Tears recreation. This is where the fun happens. So, these are all debug items, meaning they cost $0. These are like live edit objects. These are items in the game that were already there, that you see in the background, things that the sim creators have made and just have in the game. And there are a number of these items. We're gonna make this look exactly like a town square. This entire lot is about to come to life. This is the part, I think, in this particular build that I was most excited for personally. I go absolutely crazy with this decoration. I'm so jazzed for you guys to see this. Like, so jazzed. We get so many good bits of detail in here. So many good bits of detail. And I really make a point of adding these bits of detail as if this were like a real town square. So we've got those little bumpers to indicate to cars that, hey, you can't drive down here. These are not streets that you drive down. I find a way more tame bush to put off to the side there. I did feel like the spa needed a little bit of greenery. There needed to be a little pop of something there. And then all of these amazing street signs and bus signs. I loved the idea of putting like these little street signs to indicate, hey, this is Main Street, and this is, I don't know, Stag Lane or whatever. I don't know what you would want to call the side streets. We can get creative with that. Oh my god, yeah, these amazing like lamp posts with lights on them that have little fun banners. There were almost too many good items like this to place. You're gonna see me pull out, I think, everything that I want to use for the most part. And then you're gonna see me edit it down, pare it down as much as I can, and narrow in on a design aesthetic. A very specific design aesthetic. And then I go crazy and put everything in its proper place and make the whole thing look really, really cool. I really love specifically how this part of the build ends up turning out. Oh my god, I'm so jazzed. I almost just want to watch it happen. But then that wouldn't be particularly fun for you guys. I've heard that you guys enjoy my rambling and my commentary. And I'm very flattered. I'm awful at receiving compliments, or anything remotely resembling a compliment. I'm just very awkward at receiving them. Oh my god, yeah, these fun little like flower ribbons. I don't even know where they came from, but those were so cool. If only they were appropriate for this particular build, but they were so cool. For real, you guys, debug items will save your builds in more ways than you can count, and they're free. You have access to them regardless of how many packs you have. I think if you do have other packs, like other packs have their own debug items too. So the more packs you have, the more debug items you have access to. logically speaking. But just the fact that all of these items are $0, they cost you nothing, and they put this very special element of detail into a build that just takes it like that one extra step. I love it very much. I am a very big fan. Yeah, you see me get rid of these ones. I really like, I think, the shape of these lights in particular. And this is my organizational brain at work. So I make a note of how many of each item I've pulled out, and then I sort of think, okay, how am I going to divide these things up properly throughout the space? How am I going to design this? I want things to be symmetrical. Symmetry is very pleasing to my brain. Also, when it's something like a town square, it is usually very well groomed. Not groomed, but you know, there's a lot of detail put into it. It looks very well put together. I don't even know what to say to you guys as I watch this part of the build happen. A part of me just wants to really let you enjoy this bit. Enjoy this particular bit without any of my commentary. Honestly, everything that's happening right now with the rest of this build does not need my commentary. It's so cool. I am so unbelievably pleased with how it turned out, and the level of detail I get into. Enjoy. That's all I can say. Enjoy. as much as I'm just sitting here and enjoying this and watching this back, I mean, I am still here and I will still be adding some type of commentary. Yeah, even down to the fire hydrants, like, we went in on the details of this build. I keep saying we, I mean the royal we. Like, I went in. I am apparently very bad at taking ownership of the things that I do like this that are apparently very cool. That's okay. Something for me to work on. A little bit of live introspection right here. Just the level of detail on the paths, on the shapes. I really tried to figure out how to make the cobbles work as best as they could. And then I definitely mess around with this to get it to look somewhat decent. These particular corners were a little tricky to do. But then even those little edges, you know, the way that they end up going, it's very the flow is just so nice. It's so soothing to my brain to see. I do end up doing, yeah, I do a little bit in the middle as well. And then again, I like to keep things very symmetrical. It's very soothing to my brain. We come in here. So I'm sure most Sims builders, especially ones who are watching this, would know how to do this. You can do triangle flooring. I believe it's the Control F input on the keyboard will allow you to do these half bits of flooring instead of a full square or a full tile. God, I just love how this looks even now. Like, I love how it turns out. It's so pretty. I'll have to, at some point in time, take another go at the City Hall building, because that one was a little tough to do. But and then I keep one of those little signs as like, oh, I guess I keep a couple. I put a couple of them in as if they're like stag stations. Those are the signs for the stag stations, or rather the bus stops. Gotta put in some trees. I think I maybe use a mixture of the dark and the light. Yeah. Oh no, I just used the dark ones. I like the dark ones actually. I think the dark ones work perfectly for this particular build. And again, debug items coming in to save the day. You see these amazing little debug grills or whatever they are, the protectors for the base of the trees. And I just throw in a little bit of greenery. But nothing quite so unruly in the center square area. We gotta put in some nice well-kept bushes. And a couple of shrubs all over the place. I wanted a really cool like water feature or some type of sculpture here, but I did want it to be relatively minimalistic. And I do love this particular tree or shrub, and I never get to use it. I think that actually was the exact right, perfect thing to put in there. A little bit of terrain paint to give things, you know, that natural dirt, earth element. Make things look realistic. And I fence the whole thing in like it's a nice fancy little bit of garden. It's so pretty. I think I was completing this build in call with both Lumen and Rusty, and as I was going through and adding these little finishing touches, I think I like squealed so many times because of how good it was looking and how excited I was about it. We're gonna pop in a couple of benches because, you know, Hollow Knight loves a good bench. Gotta have your places to sit. Same with in the town square, the center space. You gotta have a couple of little areas to sit. Maybe underneath the lamp light. God, it's so pretty. And you always have to have a trash can. There are trash cans strategically placed. Nice, you know, quality trash cans that go with the aesthetic of the build, of course. So that's it. That's the whole thing. I just love it. I love it so much. I don't know if I actually keep, I guess I do keep both of those flag poles. Yeah, I guess that makes enough sense. Just needed to add a little bit of something up in there. Yeah, there we go. Now I think that's it. Yep, that's the whole build. I hope you guys have enjoyed this entire series. Thank you so much for sticking with me while I tried this fun little experiment. Please feel free to sound off in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this whole series. As always, be well, and I will see you guys in the next series.